Hi, everybody. Um, this is the title. Oh, snap. Is there a farmer's market around here? An assessment of farmers market placements in Washington, D.C. Um, so, just a little background on Washington, D.C.'s population, a little over 700,000 population with race is about even split with white and black um, residents, 11% Hispanic. Age distribution, most people of working age, 13.5% of the population is in poverty, and of that, 14% are seniors in poverty, which is relevant to this presentation. Um, so currently there are, or pre-COVID, there were 62 operating farmers markets, 51 currently as of this month. And they're managed by nonprofits, universities, businesses that sponsor them, and they offer a variety of things and fruits, vegetables, artisanal foods, and they accept many of them accept vouchers like food stamps and others as well. So farmers markets are crucial. I think we all know what they are, but they provide a venue for farmers to sell locally grown foods, produce, and meats, eggs, honeys, again, artisanal foods. And then um, it's important with regards to food access, as many communities, as designated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, have areas of low food access, meaning they live in areas, for urban areas, they live in areas that are more than a 10-minute walk from a full service grocery store. And then our communities, many urban areas have vulnerable populations or high need populations that are on um, benefits like food stamps or SNAP benefits, and also seniors in poverty who have um, are eligible for benefits that they can use at farmers markets. So there's been plenty of research on farmers market placements, accessibility needs, perceptions of farmers markets among those that are eligible for food stamps or these benefits. Um, how easy, where they are placed, how easily folks can get to them, and then perceived barriers that exist with the consumer, and also where the farmers markets are placed within the city. So the hope for my hypothesis for this investigation is to that farmers markets in DC will tend to be located in areas nearby metros than areas that are not near metros. Again, going to that accessibility piece of folks that are getting to and from the city, um, going to and from around the city, and then farmers markets accepting SNAP and senior farmers nutrition program benefits will be located in areas that have higher populations of individuals receiving those benefits. So, just to talk a little bit about the potential stakeholders of this. Um, so, essentially, who could benefit from this information? Vulnerable residents of DC residents who this is someone investigating or looking into. Um, it's important to know that Washington, D.C. has 8 districts, each with their own city councilor who are meant to fight, defend, and protect and enhance the safety of their district residents. Um, and even among that, there's 40 neighborhood commissions within DC, wards that are, these are elected individuals that speak on behalf of their district to any changes, potential new farmers markets that exist in their districts. And then even beyond that, there's elected 299 single member districts that also communicate with their ANC. And then with the Office of Planning, there's 46 neighborhood clusters, and this is administrative boundaries meant for planning purposes with regards to population. And DC's Food Policy Council could benefit with 13 appointed members who oversees things like food access and food the DC's food health system.
You have about 5 minutes, Andre. I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you so much. So these are the data sources I used. Neighborhood clusters, low food access areas, demographics, things like that. Just a little more intro into specifics of these variables. With age demographics, I'm looking at seniors over the age of 60 that are in poverty because they're the ones that benefit from these voucher programs, the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, and then SNAP recipients. So to investigate this, I'm looking into, I looked into proximity analysis of the farmers market points with regards to distance around. As I mentioned, the low food access area is within a 10-minute walk or a half a mile buffer around those points, and then intersecting those points with, or intersecting those buffers with areas within the city that are of low food access. So just a brief breakdown, population wasn't my main focus of this, but just to give you an understanding of the population breakdown, if you think of Washington, D.C., this is, the White House, downtown area. Wards 7 and 8 have high population of low income residents. Over here, closer to Ward 3 and 4, you have more individuals that own homes and more suburban. So within DC, there's 40 metro stations. And then within those metro stations, I did a 0.5 mile buffer and then intersected farmers markets within those buffers. So we see 38 of the 62 DC farmers markets are within access to a metro. We see areas on the outskirts that could, benefit from either having a farmers market. However, this is the data that shows this clustering. And then with senior farmers markets nutrition program. So again, these are seniors that qualify for this benefit are 60 years and above and meet a poverty threshold that the city designates. And then we see when we overlay the number of seniors in poverty and the number of farmers markets accepting the senior farmers market nutrition program, we see a high number of them within these neighborhood clusters, but not necessarily advantageous to the areas that have high number of seniors in poverty.
2
And then
minutes,
just,
Andre.
thank you very much. And then just the comparison of other farmers markets that exist in these high poverty areas. So as I mentioned, the low food access areas in DC, this is the low food access areas. And then looking at folks that are on receiving SNAP benefits in DC, and then joining farmers markets that are within these low food access areas compared to the high SNAP recipient household recipients. So we see areas of improvement that could exist. And then these are the farmers. So in terms of like time, that's a geographic location. This is farmers markets that are open year round. So we see that, these are the farmers markets open year round. Farmers markets that accept SNAP are in green. And overlaying that with high SNAP recipient households, we don't see many farmers markets that are open year round accepting SNAP in these high SNAP areas. So only 7 farmers markets open year round, 3 of which accept SNAP and not even in high SNAP areas. So again, the low food access areas that I wanted to intersect was the farmers markets here. Within those low food access areas, doing a buffer analysis of 0.5 miles away from those farmers markets, we see that DC covers a lot of ground with the farmers markets near within a 0.5 mile radius, but there's areas of low food access that can definitely be improved. So farmers markets in DC will tend to be located in, just looking at my hypothesis, the first hypothesis was mostly supported. We saw 38 farmers markets within a buffer of these metro stops. And then farmers markets accepting SNAP and Senior Farmers Nutrition Program. Not really. We saw a lot of areas of improvement in areas that there are high SNAP or high seniors in poverty, but not voucher programs that farmers markets accept in those areas. So barriers and limitations to this. I know I'm running on time. I'm sorry. The data accuracy of this component, as was mentioned earlier, I went off the data that existed with these within OpenDC. COVID-19 has definitely changed the landscape of these areas. Possibly farmers markets that didn't accept SNAP now do. Ability to do any site visits. Typically that would be advantageous. And then limit in scope to fully flesh out the data. And then also a main component is the context. Virginia and Maryland are nearby to these this DC, so that could be a confound to why there might not be farmers markets on the edge of the state. And then conclusions, the next step is to look into more of SNAP and the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, whether or not stakeholders that could benefit from those voucher programs, their perception of these farmers markets. So even though they're adjacent to them, they might not want to go to those farmers markets. And then again, further analyze other potential areas farmers markets exist, other variables that exist that don't take into account the ones that I looked at, and then discussion with the stakeholders that I mentioned. So thank you very much.